Let's get you ready to play the most demonic of the demon classes. This will be a crash course on Demonology Warlock with a quick rotation, simple builds that work everywhere, and proper understanding of how it works in today's video. This season, Diabolus will be your go-to for all content, unless some buffs to Soul Harvester happen. For dungeons, grab this build real quick. Right now, this is what the top Demo Warlocks push with, one of the builds anyway, and you'll be playing with the Doomguard talents for extra cool flavor. In raids, you'll use this build instead. This focuses more on imp damage as well as Felguard damage with the Immutable Hatred talent node. Even so, most of your damage will still come from your Diabolus demons and your tier sets, but that's all passive stuff. For your open world adventures and delves, you can play this build. Outside of spreading some doom, the build is straightforward and has tools for all situations. A little bit of single target, a little bit of AoE, just enough to get things done. All three builds can be found in the description by copying and pasting the import link in your game. We also super recommend checking Motoko's Icy Veins guide on Demonology. You'll find more information there, more builds to try, and tips on how to get your Demonology into super late game, both raids and dungeons. How does Demonology work though? It's not that hard actually. It competes with Destro as the easiest Warlock spec. First, I want to shout out our patrons for supporting our guides. After years of hearing people they want guides back, you know what? We have answered. But without the patron support, it couldn't have happened. So if you find this guide useful, consider going to patreon.com/Marcelian&Flame and check it out. Maybe we can convince you to become a member and make more of these videos in the future possible. Now, as far as Demonology is concerned, you have Soul Shards as your main resource, and you generate it with Shadow Bolt, 1 at a time, or Demon Bolt, 2 at a time. As you can notice, Demon Bolt has a very long cast time, so long that you actually never cast it. You instead will have a proc called Demonic Core that can stack up to 4 times, and each stack makes your Demon Bolt instant. You get these Demonic Cores when your demons, imps and dreadstalkers die or expire. Your demons are what you spend your shards on. Outside your active pet, which is the Felguard and one of the biggest damage sources of your kit, you have 5 demons you call on yourself. Imps are spawned from casting Hands of Gul'dan, which give you 1 imp per soul shard used on it. It can only go up to 3 shards, and that's when you want to use it as well. Called Dreadstalkers calls out 2 demon doggies that deal decent damage and even cleave in AoE. Vile Fiend is your mini offensive cooldown with a single target and an AoE variant from your talents. Lastly, you have Grimoire Felguard, which is a second Felguard. All of these demons are then used to fuel your big offensive cooldown, which is your Demonic Tyrant that increases the damage of all of your other demons present and extends their duration by 15 seconds. Your rotation then becomes generating as many shards and spending them as much as you can, and then lining all of your demons up once your Tyrant becomes available again. That's basically it. Of course, Diabolus mixes it up a bit, where your Mother of Chaos empowers your Shadow Bolt to generate 3 shards instead of 1, and your Pit Lord to make your Hand of Gul'dan consume no shards, but still summon 3 imps. With these 2 changes in mind, you have to be mindful of your shard economy, since it's never good to waste any. Speaking of, for your opener, you will start with Power Siphon 5 seconds before the pull into a pre-casted Shadow Bolt. Use your Grimoire, then Shadow Bolt again, summon Vile Fiend, Shadow Bolt, call Dreadstalkers, instant Demon Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan, instant Demon Bolt again, Hand of Gul'dan twice if you have leftover shards, and then summon your Demonic Tyrant. Use Demonic Strength and continue with your regular rotation. This is the opener that you use all of the time, and for AoE you have just 2 changes. The second Demon Bolt that you cast should be casted on a second target to apply more dooms all over the place, and after you used your Demonic Strength, you can also cast Implosion, which you always do with 6 or more imps. By that time you would have at least 7. As far as your priority is concerned, you just need a few simple rules, which should make it obvious for you how to use your abilities. You want to always use Tyrant on cooldown while extending all of your demons. That includes Vile Fiend, Dreadstalkers, and ideally at least 10 imps. Every other tyrant will line up with your grimoire as well. What this means is that as your tyrant comes off cooldown, you start summoning your demons so that when your tyrant is available, you have everyone out and can just send it right away. If you can ensure your tyrant is always casted this way, then the next thing you want is to always cast your demons on cooldown as they become available. Your grimoire is the number one, with Vile Fiend, Demonic Strength, and Call Dreadstalkers next. Past this, never cap on shards by casting your Hands of Gul'dan properly, always with 3 shards by the way, or you can even cast it with 2 shards if your Ritual Mother of Chaos spawned and your next Shadow Bolt would generate 3 shards. You don't want to sit on this proc too much by just casting 3 shard Hands of Gul'dan until you reach 2 shards, since you might risk wasting shards. Never waste Demonic Core procs either, which means casting Demon Bolts by making sure you are low enough on shards to cast it without wasting any while you have 2 or more stacks of the buff. Since demons can always die without you noticing, it's good to not risk letting your cores stack to 3 or 4 and then generating 2 and wasting them. Similarly, Power Siphon should be used on at most 2 cores present to prevent overcapping. Fill in with Shadow Bolts when nothing else is available. In AoE, you will have the exact priority of spells, with the only change being Implosion as an addition to your rotation when you are fighting 2 targets or more. In terms of when to cast it, you want to make sure that first your demons are on cooldown, you've casted your Hands of Gul'dan, and ideally you are not at 4 stacks of Demonic Core, or even 3 for that matter, just to be safe, since each imp that you implode has a 15% chance to give you a Demonic Core as it gets blasted into your enemies. Another thing you need to be aware of is Doom. Doom is a dot that gets placed on the target of your Demon Bolt and deals damage when it expires. You accelerate the expiration by casting Hands of Gul'dan, but the trick is to spread Doom on multiple targets by sending Doom Bolts on new enemies with every cast. This means tab targeting your enemies for maximum efficiency. As a Warlock, you are likely to always have a raid spot since you are the most sought after class regardless of your spec. Hellstones and Gateways are a must in any raid, so make sure you always have them ready and waiting after each pull or each wipe. Speaking of Gateway, regardless of where you are, use this macro for it. What it does is it instantly casts a Gateway where your mouse cursor is, cutting down on the time to cast it and also positioning it on the ground. This will make traversing ground much smoother and faster, compensating your almost non-existing mobility. Demonic Circle is also part of your kit, although this requires a bit more foresight and encounter knowledge as to where it is safe to place. One tip you can have for your Death Pact defensive is to make sure you are at as much HP percentage as possible, since the Absorb Shield scales with your current health level. Ideally, you want to use this before taking damage, but if you know damage is coming and your Unending Resolve is down and your healer is struggling to keep you up, you can use your Hellstone and or your Mortal Coil for a quick heal, then immediately press your Death Pact. This of course works with a health potion as well. Note that Mortal Coil fears the target if it's crowd controllable, so make sure you don't send it in a weird direction, risking pulling other packs in a dungeon. Best stats, best gear, best everything can only really be found out by simming. Use raidbots.com for it, but I know you don't want to go to third-party websites for this. So then just aim for the highest intellect item, which for non-rings, necks, and some trinkets, it will be pure item level. Haste and crit are close to each other and should be your main focus as secondary stats. Mastery and Verse should be considered last for this. The tier sets are tied to your hero talents this season, and since you will be using Diabolist in all content, you need to know what it does. The 2-set bonus makes a 3-shard Hand of Gul'dan summon a Demonic Oculus, and you can have a maximum of 3 at a time. Once you play your Demonic Ritual and summon either one of the 3 big demons, the Oculi are also thrown at the enemy to explode for massive damage. The 4-set makes it so that when they are destroyed, they also give you a 2% intellect buff for 10 seconds. Not something that will change your playstyle, rather something that works better the more correct you play your rotation. Although Demonology is on the simpler side, there are more things you can learn whether there are builds or rotational min-maxing, and for that we do recommend you check Motoko's Icy Veins guide as he goes deeper into the advanced parts of the spec. Also, you'll find in the description a link to the Warlock Discord for even more access to high-level information, since that's where the top Warlocks in the world hang out. If you plan to expand your Warlock journey, you can also check our Destruction guide as well. Similarly, it goes into the builds, rotation, and explanations of the spec, so you can go and blast quick and easy.